Three sisters with stories to tell. Books in our hands, we know them well. Flipping pages where dreams dwell. Chapter one, here you go. Turn the light, let the words flow. Laughs and love in every show. Books, sweethearts, we grow.
All right, welcome back to the Sister Show Banter. We're starting a new book today, The Throne of the Fallen. I haven't even memorized the title yet.
You'll get there. We'll say it enough.
Yeah. We're going to cover the first 6 chapters today for 75-ish pages, and we'll kind of see how that does and adjust as needed. All right. At the end of our last episode, we gave a quick little debrief. I think at this point you guys probably know what we're doing here. So I think we can jump in. Obviously, no rapid recap today. It will
I know
just
you miss it. I wish that you get to hear my rapid recap.
And Ashley and I don't get to act and try to fix our faces.
This isn't boring at all. I'm super excited about it.
So yeah, with that, Ash is going to kick us off with the first section, including the prologue.
Okay. So we start off from the perspective of Envy. So his title is Prince of Envy. Essentially, it sounds like, so they haven't given us too many details even through the full 6 chapters yet, but it sounds like all the seven deadly sins, there's a prince for each of them, which is the house in each of this Fae world. We do know that, mostly humans don't know that the Fae are real, but apparently some do. So just to give you that much. So we start off with several decades before. So we don't really know what the time framing is here, anything like that. But Envy has received a letter of some kind, and there's an emerald feather that falls out, and there's a spell on this feather that's all it says is "Be ready," signed L. We don't know who that is. We don't know what it means, but he is not exceptionally happy about it. He's a little bit pissed off by it. But so then we do learn that Envy, to some extent, has been cursed. We don't know kind of who cursed him, what it means exactly, just that there's some kind of curse going on. And so the way they have an increase in their power and how they maintain their power is when their particular sin is committed toward the Fae in that kingdom. So if somebody is envious of one of them, then they increase their power base. And
Just for a second, I just want to commend you for ascertaining that. Because I read the prologue and I was like, I don't know.
I was honestly like, I'm not picking that part, and someone's going to teach me what I just read.
So thank you, Ashley, for your details, because
you're
I needed
very
it.
welcome.
Continue on.
Yeah. So yeah, as people go and they commit these sins, their power base increases. Well, from his inner monologue, we find that the symptoms of this curse, of whatever this curse is they have a much lower power base and they're becoming very forgetful. It's like, I kind of saw it as a very long, drawn out version of some form of dementia. They slowly start to forget things, including people they've known their entire lives. And he describes, even when they're having a conversation, it takes them an extra split second to really process and then respond to what's going on, including who it is that they're talking to. And then it's like they kind of get their senses back to some extent and carry on. And there have been whispers about, all of this going on, but nobody's really saying anything. So no one is really in the know that this is a thing. But we learn that in order to break this curse to some extent, there is a game that must be played. And Envy would then have to win it so that the prize can be that he gets all of this stuff back and the curse is broken. And we don't quite yet know anything about the game either. There's a lot of kind of starting in the middle, it felt like, in the prologue, which is probably why you guys were confused. Because there's no context. You're just kind of in his head. But it slowly kind of starts to make sense a little bit as we get further in. And to that point, like the only hint of that he has to win this game is that he makes the comment to himself that if he wins, he's going to get everything back and restore their house is really how they describe it. They call it a house, which makes me think of Harry Potter, but
I think he's a Slytherin.
I'm okay with that. Me too. But one hint that he gives is the last part of his thought, which is he will never endanger his circle by becoming intrigued by a mortal again. So we don't know, but something tells me he went to bed with the wrong lady and something happened.
I was just going to be like, what if it's her mom? But that's definitely not the answer.
It could be. I bet he has like all this time. That would be hilarious. Wouldn't it be funny if you just called that, Hannah, and like we have no base for that, but it becomes a thing? I think that'd be hilarious.
I definitely have a theory later that I want to throw out there, which I might throw it out at the very end, but
Okay.
So then it cuts to several decades later. Again, we don't really know what that means.
This part doubly confused me. I was like, now who the hell's this? What's going on?
Yeah, I definitely told myself to go back and reread that after I knew what the heck was happening, but I did not.
Please enlighten us, Ashley.
Well, to be fair, I was a little bit also confused, but then by the time I got to like mid chapter 1, it kind of like started making sense a little bit, but so several decades later, and we're actually switching the perspective to this guy named Lord Nylar Rains.
They also started throwing out a lot of names at us again.
I actually kept a list of characters that were introduced and like some detail about them, like their association or whatever, which maybe I'll throw that into a document so we can kind of keep track.
Yeah,
But yeah. So this, I'm going to call him Rains. I'm not calling him Nylar or Lord. So Rains, I mean, we get the perception that he's pretty much just a drunken fool at the beginning of this. He's stumbling about, and he and 13 others, or 12 others, so there's 13 of them total, have gone into Envy's bedchamber. So
I guess this would be like his actual in his house in the underworld.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
Okay.
And it actually took until I came back to make notes of this chapter that I realized it was the bedchamber. I was thinking it was like a throne room because he's walking towards the dais where the actual throne sits. And it wasn't until
the dais. The dais is how I would say it. Dais sounds a lot better. Okay, anyways.
Yeah. But
I think people also pronounce it dais.
I said dais though.
Oh.
Dais, whatever you want to call it.
So
I don't know
wrong
what
either
it
way.
means, but
A throne, right?
Oh, the throne is the throne. It's
Like steps?
It's like when you go into a church and where the pastor stands, you know, it's like kind of elevated.
Oh,
so
it's
the
for the
steps
fancy
up to the
people.
throne.
Or it's like
Yeah,
the
like and then
level where the throne is.
right. So like in a Catholic church is where they get the homily, they have the chalice, they have the relic and all of that.
So
That's
the stage.
yeah, it's like the stage kind of.
Stage, okay.
Look at us already learning something.
But it has more significance than a stage.
Okay, yeah, true.
So this Reigns guy, he sounds like a level 10 douchebag, right? So he's making all these just outlandish comments about something about like he starts off with the want to ride the famed one-eyed monster that's painted on my ceiling, darling, talking to
Or
one
come
of the
sit on my
ladies.
lap. I have a mighty gift for you.
Yeah. So
Want to see if light truly imitates art?
yeah. If you guys don't or have never had a friend that talks like that, like I'm sure you've seen one on some kind of Netflix film. They do exist, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from Reigns this whole time. And so as he's kind of looking around, he's when you're going in and out of that drunken phase and you're starting to notice things, but then you're just like, oh, whatever, and you don't really think about it. So he's kind of just looking around at all the people there while he's trying to get this chick to come sit on his lap. And he looks down and is like, oh, I'm in a red suit and everyone else is in, a dark green
Deep
outfit.
hunter green, very specifically
Yes.
deep hunter green.
Which
like that's a thing.
It is. So the deep hunter green, he's like, that makes sense because that's one of the colors of the House of Envy. And then the reason he picks up on the fact that he's wearing a red suit, which he does not remember starting the evening off in, is because it is absolutely not one of the colors of the House of Envy. But then he's like, I don't know. Maybe it's not a big thing. Whatever. And he's looking around and he's like, well, do I know these people? So he's getting that kind of confusion as well. But then he's like, oh no, I do recognize that guy. I do know her.
I've known
And
them my whole life.
yeah, like I mean, and then he realizes, it's getting really close to midnight. And then he looks across this bedchamber and sees this guy, Alexei or Alexi.
We know he's sexy. He's sexy. His name's Alexi.
I'm not quite sure how to
Sexy
help.
Alexi.
Oh, hold on. My Alexa has now joined the conversation. Never
Sorry,
mind, Alexa.
girl. We didn't say your name. We said Alexi.
So, which we find out he's actually not Fae. He is a vampire, and he is the second in command to Envy, which this kind of like breaks through Rain's drunken, demented mind and is like, oh shit, if he's here, that means Envy isn't far away because they're not supposed to be in this guy's bedroom. And so he's kind of starting to panic, but at the same time, all of a sudden the bells start chiming. So it's an old school, I guess, bell clock. So it's gonna, hit 12 times and then it'll be midnight. And at the same time that these bell chimes start, all of a sudden now he's hearing like hundreds of voices in his head, all saying the same thing, which is same lie, lilac, over and over and over. And he's like, what the hell? And he's, putting his hands over his ears, freaking out. And he stumbles up on top of we will call it a stage, and goes and sits. He sits on the throne, like he's just trying to like make the world stop spinning from his drunkenness. So he sits on this throne, and all of a sudden everything stops. The voices stop, and the people that were there with him, all of a sudden they drop. And he even makes the comment in his head like, this looks like the beginning of a game, but then again kind of just goes on to another thought. And he's like, well, then he comes back and he's like, well, if this is the beginning of the game, Lexi is here and he'll go find Envy and let him know that some kind of game is about to start. But he looks up and Alexi's just poofed. Like he's not there. He doesn't know where he went. And then the final bell chime tolls and he literally bursts into flame and screams like at the top of his lungs, "Same lie, lilac." And he looks up and after he's screaming and whatnot and realizing that he's on fire and he sees Envy and Envy's just kind of like staring at him, kind of taking it all in. He's not doing anything to help him. He's just like, it's kind of how I pictured. He's just standing there like, interesting. And he's muttering the same line over and over. And he finally realizes it. He realizes Envy's there and he tries to ask him, what does it mean? And Envy tells him it means that the game has now begun. Turns around and just walks out. And then we can only assume that he dies. It doesn't say that he died, but
I think it's
his
safe to
mind
assume.
grew dark and still.
And he was on fire, so that's like, like that's the reasonable conclusion.
It's reasonable in the human world. I don't know.
So I
these
took from
things.
that the importance of what was going on is you kind of see an idea of the maddening, or right, the forgetfulness that his people were dealing with. Because I'm assuming this is people that were in his court, right? And then the initiation of this game that's finally his chance to release that curse. That's the gist of what just happened, right?
Pretty much.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
And then you see how the game started.
Yeah. Okay. Now I get the rules of conduct.
Yes. There are 5 rules of conduct for this game.
Also had no idea what this meant when I first read it. I was like, cool beans.
I know. it just straight up went to, so it said part 1, and then you turn the page and it's rule of conduct. And it's like, okay.
For me? Who's supposed to?
Okay. So 1, players can't use magic to influence non-players who are directly related to the clue that they're working on. 2, you get 3 chances for each clue, and if you're unsuccessful, you're disqualified. 3, there's punishment for disqualification, which including but not limited to death. How you can
There's worse than death.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, but okay.
Burning in hellfire, probably.
I mean, maybe. So 4, the prize is tailored to the individual winner. And 5, all the players are personally selected by the game master. We don't know anything about who this game master is, but and it does say that, they sign with a drop of blood, which will activate a bonding spell and will allow them to track or had their progress tracked by the King of Chaos. So we don't know who that is. I'm assuming that's like the guy
The game
above the
master?
7 deadly sins. Like that must be Lucifer. If they're the 7 deadly sins, then the King of Chaos would be Lucifer. Like in whatever Fae terms that would be, in my mind.
Maybe we'll get an explanation.
I'm sure.
I'm sure at some point. Yeah.
Maybe we reread the prologue at the end.
It makes sense now.
Is there a post-log?
An epilogue?
Not the epilogue, because that's for the story. I'm talking about maybe there's like a post-log of the world. Like now that you've learned this story, here's some more details that might help you make sense of it. That would be
Maybe a glossary of sorts.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So chapter 1. So this is from the perspective of Camilla Antonius, who is essentially the protagonist, right? So we learn that she's an artist and we know her father is dead from an illness. Her mother ran off. We don't really know any of the details on that. And we know she's a lady, right? Like, so she has some kind of title, but she's poor. She spent her inheritance on taking care of her father while he was ill. And the setting is in her art gallery, which used to be her father's because her father was a painter. And it's her life goal to keep this thing running. Like, And apparently she's a really good artist too, so she could be capable of it. But we also learned like she had one person that was working for her, but she had to let them go. And so essentially she's poor and trying to, stay current in this time. I got the feeling they're very much like in the like the 16 to 1800 vibe.
So I was telling Hannah that it gives me like, if I hadn't watched the show Bridgerton, I know there's books, but I have, or like Downton Abbey, like those are the vibes I get. Like they're like proper society and like there's courtiers and like they have coming out or whatever, debutantes kind of thing.
Yeah.
They say, I probably already said this, but they say things like the ton, and they have gossip sheets essentially that go out that everybody like waits around for. That's the vibes I got.
And yeah, it's very like at one point like she's worried about him being too close to her in the window, which we'll go into later, but because that would just be scandalous. If he's
Did you
within
talk about
like
him yet?
3 feet. No, I'm about to.
I was
trying to get perspective of like you're getting close. So the very I find like the very first sentence is very telling on who she is as a person. It says Miss Camilla Antonius had very little patience for fools, even handsome ones. So like I feel like that really kind of set the tone for honestly like
she's not here for the bullshit.
Yeah. She's like, I don't care that you're hot. Like if you're a fool, like I'm not gonna suffer you.
Yeah.
So
which they back up constantly already.
Yeah. So immediately we are introduced to Lord Philip Atticus Bexley, who we find out she in her mind calls Bex the Hex. And that's honestly the only way I hear it. Anytime I see his name, I'm like, yeah, Bex the Hex.
I unfortunately keep thinking of Vector.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Wow.
In the dance.
Yeah.
In the orange jumpsuit. Yeah. I'm there too now. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
You're welcome. It'll keep things interesting.
God. So he pops into her gallery and immediately we find out like he's not a good human. Like she doesn't like him, and we find out that he is blackmailing her for forged paintings. So the long and short of it is she tried to sell him a forged painting to which he somehow like picked up on the one detail and recognized that it was a forgery. And instead of ruining her, he has decided that he's going to have her make forgeries for him because he has been disinherited by his parents for all of his tomfoolery that we will learn about throughout the next 6 chapters. And
I don't have a theory there, but I think that there's something there, like how he found. Like, I don't think he's smart enough to find this.
Like,
I
he
think
probably
there's something
was like given a clue or something.
there's something behind the scenes that made that happen.
Like he made a deal to get like a one-up in society since he was disowned or whatever.
I feel like there's a lot of undercurrent in a lot of what's going on. And again, because we keep just popping in with no context to different places, it's just like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like, we'll find out later. Or jokes
I like
on
that
us.
She calls it the great mistake. Due to what I now call the great mistake.
Yes. So they agreed originally 3 forgeries and it'll be done. She even went to what they call it's like a really weird long name, but essentially there's this like back alley area where like dark fae magic stuff is accepted. Nobody believes it's true, but of course you always have some that do believe it. But she went and she got this little crystal that supposedly will pull a memory, like the person that has it can pull a chosen memory out of their head into this crystal. and, now they don't remember it. And she keeps bringing it up to him like, that's why I buy you the crystal. Well, here's the crystal. And he's trying to like sidestep her, like, nah. But essentially, he's coming in to get her to do another forgery, which she knew as soon as she saw him. Like, and she tells him, like, I've already met and exceeded our agreed upon terms. And he kind of claps back with, well, I actually, kept one of them and I have it somewhere where nobody else can see it, but it's just so gorgeous. I had to keep it. Um, and it's just very
Double
coy.
blackmail.
Yeah. He's just very coy about it, but he's definitely like, no, you're going to keep doing this basically. And again, because of the time settings, like she can't be too harsh, too pushy and offend him because God's forbid if she does that, then, he'll start being terrible to her and spreading rumors and just ruin her reputation and possibly out her as a forger. And she's especially concerned because the last painting, they almost got caught. Um, they actually tried to sell it to a guy that owned the real one. And luckily he was super drunk. And Vex the Hex was able to convince the drunk buyer that the one he originally owned was the forgery. And if I remember correctly, I think he even gave it to Vex the Hex and he burned it. I feel like I remember reading that, but
I know there
that,
was like peeing
that
on
could be
something.
described later. But so
Yeah, he
as
relieved himself on a sculpture.
yes.
That's what happened.
And so Vexley is very much that she goes into a lot of detail about it, but essentially, like at some play at the theater, it sounded like he was doing something to some lady on the stage, essentially in front of all these people, which is how he finally got disinherited. I guess his parents were fed up with his debauchery. But the socialites, like she describes in there that the downfall of somebody in society is like their greatest thing to watch and gossip about. Like they love to just gossip about it
For
all.
sure.
Um, and did you say something? No, maybe not. Maybe that was me. Sorry.
I coughed.
So he kind of goes into that, and he's basically a perverted creep. It's kind of how I think about it. But he's pretty and everybody loves all the scandals, so they kind of just let him do whatever. And nobody knows how he has money after he was disinherited. Turns out it's because of her
I just
forgeries.
assume
But
he's gambling, right? Or something like that.
yeah. So he's basically so desperate to get her to continue to do these forgeries. He is like, yeah, we should get married and then we could be a great team and be super wealthy off of these forgeries. And she's going back and forth like, hell no, but how do I say that without offending him and, him outing me? Which she still doesn't quite know yet, but he kind of gets the hint that she's not really like, if he keeps pushing, she's definitely going to just flat out say no. So he kisses her hand in front of the window, which she is really stressed out about, and leaves as he's telling her, "Oh, and I'm going to have a party in a couple of days. You'll get an invite." And she's like, "Oh, great. One, he's renowned for these just salacious parties. And two, like, I can't tell him no because then it'll be a slight." So she can't even get away from the poor man. So he leaves and she goes to paint while, she's waiting for the shop to close because it's almost, I think it says they have like 30 minutes before the shop closes. And so she's painting behind the register and she hears the door open and she thinks it's Bexley.
This bitch.
And yeah, she doesn't look up and she just calls out essentially like, sorry, not trying to be insulting, but I'm not on the market for a husband. And it is not Bexley. We find it is Envy. And his response is to the point of, well, good, because I'm only on the market to commission a painting, not find a wife. And she kind of looks around and she's like, oh shit. And she's definitely attracted to him. She describes him like a sexy predator, like a jaguar to begin with. Like he just kind of prowls around. And he's got dark hair, bright emerald colored eyes, and she's like, oh, this guy's really good looking. But he starts to kind of like try and flirt or kind of charm her, and she's still like not having it. She's just kind of like, and he's like, yeah, I just came to commission a painting. She's like, okay, well, do you have the specs for the painting? Like, that's kind of how the first chapter ends. Like, I'll give her credit. She's totally into this guy from how, she's just from reading how she's thinking about the description of him. Like, she's totally into him. And she's just totally deadpanning it and is irritated that, how dare he like be flirtatious, essentially. It's pretty wild.
And just to add, like, she's very concerned, like, of her reputation because, like, her dream is just to have, like, the gallery of all of her own work. So she's, like, trying to appease him and making sure, like, she's not in the gossip spread and all the things because she's already basically endured that her whole life.
And now she's got not one, but two slithering men trying to come at her when her shop's about to close. And people can see through the windows. She decides that he's a wolf, too, not a jaguar.
Yeah. She does that at the very end.
He's a wolf pretending to be a sheep. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
She knows.
So
She's very intuitive.
Yeah. And she's not here for any games.
No.
Not even a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
she's not willing to even think of entertaining the thought of it.
Yeah.
She's just like, nope.
She didn't go with like that, who are you? Like to make sure she didn't like insult somebody of status. She's just like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you need?
She does not care. Anything else before we do?
I don't think so. You were very detailed.
Thank you. I tried without trying to be too detailed because I skipped a whole lot in that, which is wild. Okay, so chapter 2, we start out from Envy's perspective, and we find out that he can actually read emotions. And he realizes very quickly that she's becoming annoyed with his presence. And I'm not really even sure how she's annoyed yet because she hasn't really had much of a conversation with them. But I think it's really coming down to he's trying to like charm her and she's just not into it.
And
that's what I was getting.
He assumed he would just walk in here and get exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
And move along with his life. It's just like, he's like, these women want to please me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and at the very beginning, it talks about like she's looking at, the specs. So he's brought some like, I think like fabric options, stuff like that for the color referencing. And when he realizes, she's becoming annoyed and she looks up and he tries to charm her with a smile. And she's just like, no. So that's when he realizes like, okay, I just need to get to the point because I don't want to piss her off. And he's like, oh, like I said at the beginning, it's a simple piece. I just need you to paint a throne that is pristine on one side and burning and inflamed on the other. And she's kind of quiet and she's just like, oh, and I didn't catch your name. What is your name? And he tells her it is Lord Ashford Sinton, but people that know him well call him Sin. Yeah.
She didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. And he's like, he recognizes kind of what she's trying to do and like he gives her credit for it, but then she's like, yeah, unfortunately I'm gonna have to decline, but I can do something else for you. And he's like baffled by this. And we find out that same lilac, the words that these people were chanting, is actually an anagram for Camilla Elise, which is her first and middle name. And so essentially she and the throne are the first clue of the game for him. And so then he tells her, like, well, you're the best. Like, it has to be you. Because she tells him, like, I'm sure, you can find somebody else to paint that one for you. And he's trying to convince her, like, no, it has to be you because you're the best. And again, instead of answering, she kind of redirects and she's like, oh, are you visiting? Like, I've never heard of you. And so now he's annoyed because he's bought this grand estate essentially and is kind of like revamping it, and it overlooks the entire city. In his head, he's like, there's just no way she hasn't at least heard of me. So now he's offended that, she hasn't even heard anything about him. And he's trying to get down to the reason of why she's saying no. And he's asking if it's money. And she says, no, it's not the money. Is there anything else? Like, I'm closing. And so she's essentially just kicking him out. And so he's like, why won't you paint it? And she says that she refuses to paint any hexed object. She's like, if I'm not mistaken, it is the hexed throne, which is one of the most powerful hexed objects. And he's like, what does a woman know of hexed objects? When I read that, I was like, she is annoyed by you smiling at her, and you're going to say, what does a woman know about literally anything right now? Like, wrong move, dude. And all she says is enough not to get involved with one. And then she opens the door and is like, yeah, you should probably get going. It's about to rain.
I feel like she's a witch or something. She brought that rain on.
Yeah.
Something.
I was thinking one of them.
Yeah.
Like, something is going on here. So he finally leaves, and he's like, I picture in my head, like, he walks out and stops and is just like, what the fuck just happened?
That is not
Like,
how I expected that to go.
I don't understand what's happening. And so as he's walking out, his brother, so I guess all the princes are brothers, is how they describe themselves. Pride shows up, which I guess he was with him the whole time. He was supposed to be at a bar and decided no, he was going to watch this exchange instead. And so essentially Pride comes out and is making fun of him because he was given advice by him and some of the other brothers, and Envy's just not having it. He doesn't want any advice. Lust was telling him you should seduce her, court her, and then she'll paint it for you. Like, no big deal. And he's like, no, I want to do it my way. I'm just going to go in and do it. And so Pride's making fun of him. And he gets really annoyed, probably because he was just, brushed off by Camilla, and he pulls out his house dagger. So apparently they all have one, and it won't. So a house dagger will not kill another prince, but it will force them to their circle in the underworld.
Bye.
Whether they want to travel or not is what it says in there. Honestly, I'm glad that doesn't exist, because could you guys imagine if the four of us had house daggers and like we knew it wouldn't kill any of us, but it would make them like poof, disappear.
I would have gotten stabbed a lot. There would have been a lot of stabbing of Christy.
I think all of us would have gotten stabbed a lot.
I think I probably would have gotten stabbed the most.
Yeah, probably. But to be fair, I'd be second most, so it's okay.
Yeah. None of them would team up on us.
So essentially, it kind of ends with Pride asking, like, why won't you ask for help? And Envy's just ignoring him at this point. And so he's like, well, you only have 2 chances left. So since she said no, that is his first attempt, and he only has 3. And so Pride's like, well, you've only got 2 chances left. I'm sure you know what the hell you're doing. And that's just where it ends.
I wanted to point out, because I was like,
I skipped a lot of the tiny details in there.
No. I said something earlier about the deep hunter green, though. And Camilla's, her shop is a deep hunter green on the walls. So I feel like they have this, like, connection.
Yeah,
maybe.
There's some
Maybe
type
it's
of
the
tie.
mom.
Yeah.
And then, in addition to that, I feel like something important to note, but I don't know if it's important yet, is that he mentions that, where did it go? Oh, Pride is supposed to be searching for clues to Lucia's whereabouts.
His
And that he should be
consort.
brokenhearted. Okay. So does he like the only one with a consort? Queen consort, right? That's what that means, right? Like
Kind
a
of.
consort, like his spouse.
Beloved.
His
Yeah.
significant other,
Okay.
but to the nth
Yeah.
degree. Like
Yeah,
there's
so
no divorcing.
he's missing his consort, which I feel like that will probably tie into
Mhm.
something.
Somewhere.
Yeah. That's all I thought. I loved how she treated him.
Ooh, you know what? That made me
Yeah.
think of. We don't know who sent the feather, but it starts
I
with
have
an
an
L.
idea. Okay. He hasn't said his name yet. You want me to wait until it says its name?
Probably.
Okay, I'll wait till it says its name because I think that's who it is.
Yeah. Going back to like her, I was just going to add, like, as soon as she kicks him out, he says, like, 2 heartbeats later, all the lights are out and the candles are like
yeah.
blown out. And she's like, bye.
Yeah.
I'm
Like, it's
close.
pitch
Don't
black.
even think about coming back in here. I'm good. I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
She's probably out there painting in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved her attitude about him.
Too.
Awesome. Thank you,
Chapter
Ashley.
3. Let's see.
It was green.
I didn't type notes because I don't have a way to look at them because my iPad and my phone are currently occupied. So I have hotel
That's fair.
notes on my hotel notepad.
Perfect. All right, chapter 3. So we are put in the middle of a scene. She's hanging out with her BFF, Catherine. We learn that they have weekly dinners, which kudos to them for being able to manage anything weekly. Yeah, she mentions, she trusts her with all of her secrets. However, she isn't fully up to speed on all of the Vex lore. Assuming that's just about the paintings, but everything else, like how she feels about him and his like what word am I looking for? His
Creepiness?
it came to me twice and then it left.
His
His his
vices.
that works. His whatever towards her. Catherine pushes the idea of Vexley onto Camilla. She's very much like the girl trying to hook up the friend that is alone. That's pretty much almost this whole chapter is how, Camilla basically doesn't have any suitors, nor is she interested in any. And Catherine, on the other hand, is like married. She's been married for like 3 years or something now. And so it seems like she just likes to play matchmaker. And that's like pretty much what they conversate about on their weekly dinners.
I like that she wants to find her a loyal companion, not a husband.
Yeah.
Like
right.
she knows she doesn't want a husband, but
Yeah.
a loyal companion.
Yes. She mentions the gossip newsletter, whatever. There's like a caricature listed of Vexley and had just been displayed earlier in the week, and she was saying how he's known to be very generous and that all the rumors are true. And he has no problem getting the ladies and pleasing the ladies. So Catherine moves on. She's like, well, have you seen anybody else lately? And Camilla goes into kind of her background. And she really has no experience. She had like one guy or something a long time ago, but
An infamous hunter.
yes, so that Hunter Green again.
Ah.
But she has it seems like sworn off men are just like it's not a priority to her after seeing her dad be so heartbroken of her mom leaving them. So she's just like not interested in marriage or having a husband.
Hear me out real
trauma.
quick.
Yeah. I've never seen The Princess and the Frog.
Even I've seen it.
Very serious about her career, has no time for men. Daddy's dead. Party animal. Not Vexley, sorry. Vexley is Davine. Party animal, disinherited.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. Okay. I did.
And
I did.
was
I'll have to
definitely the
watch
bad
it.
guy.
Hannah has to watch The Princess and the Frogman.
Yes. Watch it at Christmas.
So Camilla, we're just like in her head right now. She's daydreaming about Envy. And she goes into how she was fantasizing about him on the carriage ride home. She was touching herself and was awoken by stopping at her home.
And the guy knocking on the door to open it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just sitting there thinking, like, she's like 3 feet away from this dude that's like driving this
Yeah.
carriage.
She probably has like a lot of layers of dress.
Yeah.
Which
Well, I'm
only
also thinking
would
she's
make
in
it
like
more
a closed
obvious.
carriage.
What?
I'm thinking a closed carriage.
No, yeah, for sure.
No, yeah,
So
but
there's just her in there.
Yeah, but I feel like when he comes to the door,
Yeah.
she's probably like,
Yeah.
all these layers to flatten out.
But yeah, so she's like reminiscing on this and still like thinking also. And then Catherine calls her out because she's getting flushed. And she like kind of snaps out of it for a second. She blames it on the sherry. She's like, "Oh yeah, I shouldn't have had that last drink." And then she's telling us about how her parents had both warned her very heavily about hexed objects and like to stay away from. So that kind of gives us some insight why she was basically like, "Nope, I'm good. Get out. We're like nothing to do here." So I'm sure we'll find out a lot more about that later. Camilla brings up Bexley's party and if Catherine has been invited. And Catherine's like, "Yes, you have to go, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Of course." And she's going into this whole plan where she is going to go, but hoping that Vex gets, I'm calling him Vex. I'm giving them all nicknames.
Vex the Hex.
Yeah.
The hex?
Hoping that he gets drunk per usual if she can go sleuthing through the house because he said, he saved this painting that he's holding over her, so she wants to find it and burn it because she knows, it'll come to a point where he's going to be able to force her to marry him. So she's starting to feel like she's becoming entrapped, so she's getting a little bold. So I'm sure we will see that play out heavily until she's able to release herself from his noose. Catherine then asks if she's heard of this new lord that has arrived in town, and Camille lies and is like, "No, I haven't."
Which is such a weird thing to lie about. Like,
yeah,
She doesn't want her to probe her.
Yeah.
Well, you met him. Is that why your face was flushed?
Right.
What were you thinking about?
But she takes the opportunity to mention, she says she's just happy that they're done gossiping about her mother, essentially. So again, digging into, this constant chit chatter that has been about her whole life and like her parents' situation and her mom leaving them.
I think her mom's a witch.
Yeah, her
I
mom's
think her
definitely
mom
in
is
the
Fae.
Fae land. Yeah.
Fae.
I think she's something.
Yeah, she's something.
which would make
For sure.
Camilla
Half
partial. Because they do talk about halflings at some point.
They do.
And, just saying.
Yeah, I mean, in all the books we read, did the humans ever stay human?
No.
Right.
We don't
Well,
want
and
that.
They can't
it does
die.
doesn't it describe her as having like hazel eyes or something like that?
Who? Mom?
I
Camilla.
don't remember.
Oh.
I'm also reading
She
another
has
book.
silver
so,
eyes.
She has
It's like
silver
silver.
hair.
Oh, that's right.
I think she
Silver.
has silver eyes too, because
Yeah. Silver
he
hair and
mentions
silver
like
eyes.
the lightning in her
Mm.
eyes was like,
Yeah.
ooh.
That seems very
Witch.
Fae.
It does seem. Or, yeah, witches.
Something.
Throne of Glass, I picture like Manon.
Well,
Mm.
isn't she evil?
No? Okay. I need to talk to you about that then. She's
Well,
not
I
evil.
don't remember all the different character names.
She's
at
a
this
bad
point.
bitch.
Oh, she's the main writer.
Mm-hmm. Manon
Okay.
Blackbean.
Who ends up with the prince. Yeah.
Lost.
Spoiler alert.
I was thinking different book, different witch with silver hair.
Gotcha. Too many witches with silver hair. So it is
She
a
was
tell.
the bad guy. Where was I?
I'm sorry. I distracted you.
It's okay.
Which part?
So her mom, his name was Flora, and she was always sharing stories of the fantasy realms, the fae, and all of those things, which was what her father ended up obsessing over in paintings. That's all he painted and what he was famous for. She theorizes that that's actually why her mom left, because she was bored of her dad, like, always asking for stories. Um, yeah, definitely interested to see more about their family dynamic. Because it did kind of make it sound like he was like bewitched a little bit, like he was
Yeah.
obsessing over
Well,
these paintings, almost like he needed to
Yeah.
do all these paintings for some purpose.
I mean, she did say her mom always would threaten to send fleas to bedchambers of the nastiest nobles so they'd get bites on their bottoms and have to scratch their rumps in public. So, I mean, that's a witchy thing to do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, and
Okay.
like when in this section when they're talking about like all the ways of like all the stories and obsession and whatnot, it has me thinking that what if she didn't leave? What if she was like kidnapped or whatever?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was definitely thinking she's in another world somewhere.
Yeah.
Or she's somewhere that she will come back in this book.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have learned so much about her.
Yeah. So she also mentions that her mom left her a gold locket that she's never told anybody of. So she wears it every day, which is interesting that like Catherine hasn't questioned it, or maybe she has and she lied about it or something. Or her dad even, like how did her dad not see that that was a locket from her mom?
I feel like it has significance. Like there's a secret inside of it or something.
Yeah.
I want to know what's in the locket.
Yeah.
Well, because it gets brought up later too as like something that Envy notices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, there's definitely significance there. So Catherine snaps her out of her thoughts again, and she's like, "You're hiding something." And she just admits to having met the new lord earlier. So that was interesting. I was like, I wasn't sure if she was hiding the locket secret or if she was hiding the NB secret, but that she chose to share the NB secret. Because it was right after we were talking about the lock that she's like, "You're hiding something."
Yeah. Like,
So,
and it could have been like, oh,
yeah.
well,
But again, so interesting that she's keeping the locket such a secret.
because maybe
yeah.
like it's not significant to most people.
Yeah.
This is my thought. Like, it's just a locket to most people, but like there's something secretive about it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, maybe people
Another
assume...
book that I read, Witch's soul was carried through a locket that was passed down generation to generation. I'm not saying that they might have the same plot, but it's possible.
It's possible. Or it's some kind of
Sounds like an episode of
a
Supernatural.
holder of magic of
What
some
if it's
sort.
a hexed object?
Ooh.
Maybe she's
her
a
mom's
hexed
in it.
object.
Listen. Okay.
Or it allows her not to like her. That's how she's able to like see past his
So I was thinking about that earlier too.
his I keep trying to think of this word and it keeps
Charisma?
Like illusion.
No, this is what his his where I'm gonna remember at midnight tonight. I'm gonna text you guys, and it's not even an important word.
His.
His
It's a phrase.
No,
See
it's like
past his.
it's one word. It's like them trying to get her attention, like their
Aura.
So you don't say see past his.
It's their like trying to grab her attention. It's their it's like a step. It's a step. Maybe it's advances. Something advances.
Oh, okay.
I knew I was
Advance
gonna,
is a step. The step did it for you.
is.
I was telling you, it's like this. It's like
You were doing that. I was like, what the hell is happening? Like,
It
she's
helped
on a
her remember.
full-on meltdown. Like, she's in the corner just...
oh Jesus.
Okay, so the reason I said that maybe it's a hex object, though, because she does go into a little more. She did explain hex objects a little bit more. She said they weren't quite sentient, but they weren't entirely without thought either. Camilla knew that the witch who created them had done so out of hatred, and through dark magic, granting the objects leave to become more twisted and chaotic as the century went on. And this meant they could even shift forms. What once was a throne might take the appearance of a book or a dagger or feather, allowing it to prick or sting or kill for amusement. It might even decide to take over a living creature, inhabiting their form until it grew bored and abandoned the shell of the host.
So I took that
Mommy dearest.
What's the lock
as an
is her mom.
explanation for the feather.
I think it has to do with the locket too, but we shall see. But
Yeah.
it does have to do with
It could be
the
both.
throne. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that it could an object is sentient enough to take the form of a person and impersonate them.
It's
I thought
the
I had
start
to.
of
Why
an
you don't touch
interesting book.
cursed things. If it looks sketchy or you get a weird feeling, you do not touch it. That's real.
The rest that I had for that is just she describes envy to her, just that he, is so arrogant, thinks the sun rises and sets with him, and
This is
Catherine's
not
all
how
giddy
she's
about it.
feeling on the inside.
Yeah. And Catherine's like, you're gonna fall madly in love with him, or at least he's gonna be a great companion.
Loyal
Yeah.
companion.
Because her version of companion is sex partner.
Yeah.
A good one that's been
F
around the
buddy.
block.
Yeah.
Okay, that was something else. Catherine says that, oh my gosh, where did it go? That was chapter 3, right?
2.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yes.
3.
No, 3.
She says, oh, darling, there's a reason people say reformed rakes make the very best husbands. You want a wicked man in the bedroom, the wickeder the better. So you ought to thank Vexley for his recent escapades. At least you know he's well-seasoned and has stamina.
Yeah.
She's like, well-seasoned.
Yeah.
She also has a cat named Bunny who gets sent for a carriage ride to her friend's house. It's a fancy-ass cat.
Yeah. So she's not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right, chapter 4. Envy walks into his new home to quite the scene. His vampire is, I don't know that so is the vampire Alexei, who we know is his second in command. I don't know that we know who he's seducing, but some mortal in the middle of the foyer, which apparently would be pretty common where they're from. But he's like, I feel like I'm having to reprimand a child. Like, not the time or place is,
If the butler saw this, he would freak the F out.
Yeah, he's like, we don't need any vampire rumors going on. We're trying to, have a low-key profile.
Yeah. Didn't it say that he was bleeding the mortal from their femoral?
Yeah, he was sucking off his leg and stroking his vein. Yeah.
All kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
But they explain, similar to other vampire books, that their venom is very potent. The more powerful you are, the more potent the venom. Which
intoxicating.
It's said Alexei's just a lick on your throat or something would drive you mad. So yeah, seems like he's very powerful. I'll take one of those.
Give Ashley a vampire lover. That's what she'll accept.
I'll take one. Then we go into Envy's cardinal rule, as he will only sleep with a girl one time and then never see them again. It's become quite the lore.
I like how he's like, if he took her to his bed, she wouldn't be able to have only once.
Yeah.
I feel. How did you ascertain that from your previous interaction with her?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going into thinking about how he's going to seduce Camilla, because that's his next step in trying to get her to commission this painting for him. We also have the clues that he has for the game. That he's, let's see, I was just going to read it. 12 green, 1 red equals midnight, house envy, target / next clue. the hexed throne, same lilac anagrams off Camilla, at least. Those are his notes that he has of this anticipated game that he's been waiting decades for. So he's very obviously fixed on Camilla. He's like, we need to get the show on the road. I do not have all day. And he was not expecting to be in the position that he's in now. And he really doesn't know what the next steps are, besides he's going to try to seduce her, which I think we all know is not going to work. Back to my notes. Let's see. He's just going into like how he got there. It took 2 weeks to track her down. He mentions that there are many players that may or may not have different clues to the game, which I found interesting. What a twist. So anything is possible, pretty much. Like anybody could be playing, anybody could be looking in different directions. They could be in that town, they could be in a different town. They could be looking for Camilla, they could be not. So,
And they
and
could
he
be
has to win
Fae
first.
or not Fae.
Yeah.
Like there
I
could be
think that
humans playing.
Hannah, I think that the next line is the L name, and that starts the next paragraph. I like went back looking for this line because I knew he said the Fae bastard something. See.
Linux.
Yeah, I think that's who he wronged.
You know, I actually wrote something specific down about Linux when I was doing like my character list, but I can't remember
Yeah, I'll
what I
just read
wrote.
this paragraph because I didn't take notes on that.
Oh, yeah. So,
That Fae,
go ahead.
that Fae mastered Linux often chose those who he wronged at some point to play his games, allowing them a chance to win back whatever he'd taken. The clues, the prize, everything would be tailored to the individual, though clues often overlapped. For example, if another player was in Waverly Green, they might need Camilla to paint them something as well.
Yeah, Christy,
So,
I think you're right.
I think it says it right there.
Yeah, because it hasn't said it
Mhm.
before. I went back and looked for it.
Yeah.
That was my theory. I made sure to write it down.
And he's just a Fae. He's not even.
Well, I think that Fae, like, it's just like a different level. It was hard to tell.
Well, he's not a prince of hell.
No, but I don't know if they're above them. I need to see like a hierarchy. I still don't understand like how their world works, but they obviously
agree.
mess with them.
Okay,
Yeah, and he does say that Fae bastard Linux, and before he says goddamn Fae bastard. So I'm assuming he's talking about the same person.
That's like the very first line of the prologue.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
All right.
Wrath is the king of demons.
So we also find out that Envy had created rumors that the estate he has purchased was haunted to scare off any other buyers, but to also create intrigue to the town because he wants to throw a huge masquerade ball and he wants everybody there so he can start sussing out who the players of the game are. How does he do that? We have no idea, but he thinks he's going to be able to do that. He's also having Camilla's shop watched day and night to see if anybody else visits her. Again, trying to determine who else is in the game. So then his butler, Goodfellow.
That actually quirked something in my mind with Vexley going in there ahead of time. And if he wants her to forge something, he could very easily make it a forgery of the hexed throne. And he could be playing too. And
But she would have said the same thing though. And it did say that it could be a different painting. Like maybe Vex the Hex is hexed in the game. He's vexing. He's Vector.
So his butler, Goodfellow, enters the room. He's immediately wary of Alexi's presence, and it just goes into he doesn't know he's a vampire, but humans can still sense the danger. So he's like visibly uncomfortable, and B dismisses him. And Goodfellow mentions that he has sent out all the invites for the masquerade ball. And Envy's like, as well as Camilla. And he's like, oh no. But I'll get one out to her today. And he starts kind of telling all the different rumors of
Sounds like a
her
terrible
mother
gossip.
leaving. Yes. Which he mentions. He's like, he's clearly a gossip king. He starts filling him on rumors of Camilla and her mother leaving in her being ostracized really by the town and that she was not suitable for any men. So she was pretty much dismissed growing up there. Which then Envy questions why she was so easily, or why she easily dismissed him when she clearly does not have a line of suitors out the door. So that is in his brain now. Then Goodfellow just continues listing off all the party items that they have done. They've got the booze, they've got the gardens being taken care of, the paintings, blah, blah, blah. And then he gives Envy the invitation from Bexley for his party. And again, gives him all the rumors. He mentions he's, has these very notorious parties.
Love to this part.
Rumored that he hosts debauchery parties and engages in crude behavior. Guests presumably sneak out of the garden to kiss.
I loved that. It was so innocent.
I know. I was like, I wonder if he's just trying to be polite or if he thinks that's really all they're doing.
Well, I mean, so if you're looking at proper society,
Right.
that is super freaking scandalous for like an unwed person to be even kissing somebody else.
No, for sure. But we know they're doing a lot more scandalous
so I think
things
it's just
than
like
that.
this innocence and like hoping that it's not as bad.
Yeah. I'm picturing very much brothel. Like the way they're like the innuendos are in this, like there's a lot going on in this house.
Brothel / orgy.
Yeah. So then he mentions his art collection, which Envy's like, is it larger than mine? And he's like, I've never seen it before, but it's rumored that, he gets things off the dark market, which he believes, or he has heard also that there are not humans at the dark market, but they are exiled fae, but I don't believe in that. So Envy mentions, he's like, well, my sites did not come up with that, so I'm going to have to talk to them about that, how I haven't heard this before. And that's pretty much the gist of chapter 4.
I had a couple of things to point out. I think the first thing was that we learned that Envy draws his power from provoking envy in others, and fueling his sin was critical now because he needed to store power so he could win the game. So, like, provoking envy in others, which is probably where, like, some of his, like, power struggles with Vexley come in. And then also, I understand the game a little bit more now, I think. So, like, that he was gambling in his brother's house and he got cards and he had 12 green cards and 1 red card. And that's, like, the indication that his game was going to start. But that was decades beforehand. And then he got those colors, red, bullseye, target. So that was interesting. And the other thing was just that he went on to say Lennox is a Fae overlord. So I do think that some of these like Fae hold power over like the demon princes.
Gotcha.
But maybe we'll get a better picture of what their hierarchy looks like as we go on. That was it.
So
yes,
one thing that I wanted to read, so especially with the last book that we read and basically nobody having any self-preservation, when he's talking about Goodfellow and him not knowing that he's a vampire, but he's like kind of like, I'm really uncomfortable. He says, humans in this realm don't necessarily believe in vampires, but could certainly sense they were prey when near one. Fear heightened mortal senses, bringing them closer to the animal world before they reasoned their natural survival instincts away as silly. Whether due to hubris or ego, man was the only creature who often ignored what no other prey did, trust their instincts, or suffer the consequences.
I noted that part too. It's
like,
true. Like
that's real.
You seem freaked out. You should probably be freaked out.
Yeah.
You feel that?
If your tummy is funny, leave the room like instantly.
That guy's giving you the heebie-jeebies. He's probably creepy.
Yep. Cross the street. It's okay.
That's all I had, though. To add or to comment.
Same.
Perfect.
Okay.
Take over.
Perfect. Okay, chapter 5. So we're back with Camilla. She is with Catherine and Lord Edwards on the way to Bexley's party, which is she's anxious about. The weirdest conversation happening about he has a chicken or a rooster that's like running amok on their summer house farm. I don't know. We simply cannot permit Peter to run amok. And she's like, man, okay, anyways. And apparently Camilla joins them at their summer house, which is really like heartwarming for her 'cause she has really good memories with her dad and their house, which she's having to rent out for money. And she goes on to explain how her father loved all of these legends. He liked to tell stories of fakest humans, beholden to the mysterious fairy king. And sometimes the king was cruel, sometimes he was like kind and good. Um, and then she kind of gets jolted out of that because Catherine's husband's asking if she can paint his rooster. Peter. Like, it's actually kind of funny that they named a cock Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and she also, like, at the very beginning, she's like, I hope this is not a euphemism. And then
Yeah.
he's like, could you paint Peter?
Yeah. No, I will not paint your Peter, Lord Edwards. Get your head out of the clouds. So, yeah, she's really nervous about arriving. They get there and she kind of just explains the building, gets out of the carriage, and is like, I'm going to hold my head up high. I'm going to walk in here. I'm going to do my thing. My illegal dealings that he forced me into are what paid for this freaking house. And so she's called it physical manifestation of her crimes, taunting her with his decadence. So here she is barely getting by when this asshole that's blackmailing her is just like living the life after he was cut off from his parents. So like this is even more feeding into the idea that he made, well, it did say that there was a room where he made a bargain with the devil. And so that makes me think like he is part of this whole game situation,
Yeah.
like a player in it. I don't remember which one of you mentioned that, but I agree with it. She knows like walking into here, she's either going to steal back her freedom or she's going to be trapped in this situation. He's going to end up forcing her somehow to marry him. She's kind of left alone with Catherine and Lord Edwards going to chat with people they know. It's just looking around and she is looking around. She sees a widow, Janelle, which she admires. She says that like she got married to a really old guy and he died. And she's just like living her best life. And she's like, that's the way to
Yeah.
do it. That's the way to do it.
She's like, I can have as many boyfriends as I want.
Yes, exactly. And she like chaperones people. So that's like something in society and in things I've watched or whatever that if an unmarried person is out in a public thing, they need a chaperone with them, right? Otherwise, they're looked at like you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
scandalous things. Um, so, once she's looking around, she's like reflecting on that. She sees Lord Ashford Sinton in his commanding, irksome glory. And he's actually looking at a painting that's her favorite painting that she had, or her favorite painting in Vexley's home. I don't actually know if it said that she painted it.
No.
No,
It doesn't.
but it's her like one of her favorites. She like imagine escaping into it. It's this like red barn in a field and there's mountains. Um so yeah, and then when she's looking over the painting and I guess looking at him, this Janelle character comes up and is like, "Oh, hello. Look at him. Are we looking at him, right? You're looking at him. Do you know him? Who is that?" And she's like, "No, I'm parched. I'm gonna go get some more punch."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she can't get punched without being bumped into by Handsome, who steadies her with his hands. Now she gets those feelings because she was imagining those hands on her in her carriage ride. And now they actually are on her. And like she just explains that she has this like burning where he touched her, but his gaze is very cold. And he feigns this like wounded feeling that you saw me, but you didn't say hello. I can't believe it with all of our long lived relationship we have. um, um, so from there, she gets a little embarrassed because he asks if she attends these parties often. And she knows he's probably heard the rumors about Vexley. And so she's like, oh God, he thinks I'm part of this debauchery. And she's like, gets really embarrassed about it and kind of backtracks on it, I guess, a little bit. And then she like segues into actually like, I'm here because I curate his art, right? Which she doesn't know anything about his love for art yet. It's probably going to be a big connection part for him. What does that say?
You wrote it.
It's unimportant. So Envy's curious about that. She thinks his curiosity may involve Silverthorn Lane, so the dark market. So she goes on to kind of explain that to him. It's like basically high society pretended it doesn't exist, but her father had been obsessed with it. And yeah, so she thinks he's like trying to gain information about that shit. She had told him to go there for that hex painting. In reality, he's just trying to figure out how to seduce her. And of course, Vexley had to come in and try to piss on her, like metaphorically, like that's mine. Yeah. And like comes up, puts his hand on her. She's obviously uncomfortable, like stiffens her spine. And then he cupped her ass. And obviously she was even more uncomfortable, but she's in his home and this is like polite society. So she can't chew him out for it, right? She has to deal with it, which sucks a lot.
I didn't get that part because in this society, like that's highly inappropriate.
But you don't call it out if it's happening. You don't shame the person doing it because that's a shame on you.
The fact that it's his party.
Yeah. Like the fact
I'm
that
so glad I wasn't born back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then he, I guess, Sin is trying to get like her attention back. He's not liking these interactions between Camilla and Vexley, and he can tell how uncomfortable she is. And trying to like stake his claim on her, he's like, you need to give me a tour of your gallery. And they're gonna do it at night, tonight. I'm like, okay, that's a little risque. Which Vexley tries to call out that, oh, you're going to take her into her dark gallery at night. Can't believe that you would do that. Proceed to have a pissing contest over her and the dinner bells ring. Like he insults Vexley. What did he say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He goes, come now, Cinny. He gives him a nickname, which, you know, men have to fucking like that. That's like that is a jab. Giving him a nickname like Cinny. Camila should be traipsing around the art district at indecent hours. Miss Antonius has made her decision, and I don't recall inquiring after your uninformed and frankly rather dull opinion, Vexley. He's about to blow. When the dinner bells ring, he just plasters his smile back on, loops his arm with hers, and walks off to dinner. Yeah. And like Camilla can feel this, like his gaze on her as she does that. And she can't, again, publicly reject Vexley's theatrical chivalry. And wants to make it through dinner so that she can get her task over with.
Well, and there's one part, like when Vexley puts his hand on her ass, like, and what's his name? I was about to call him Sin. And he's like, do you always lay claim to things that don't belong to you, Vexley?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's like, oh my God, did he sound jealous? Like,
he's on a power trip about it. Like, and I think he goes on in the next chapter, even like that it's just not right. Like in their world, people, like you want it. And if you don't want those advances, you're not involved. Like people aren't going to force you into an uncomfortable fate. So he obviously disagrees with their rules of society.
Yeah. I was just going to add that she mentioned, you know, when she goes to get a punch and he bumps into her, how he got over there so quickly. So, dun.
Well, and like, I'm super curious about, like, that's her favorite painting. And the way she describes him looking at it, like, he almost sounds like he's enamored with that painting. And it's like, what if that is one of the Fae market, whatever paintings? And
what if he painted it?
Well, he talks about the painting.
Artist. He does in the next chapter.
Yeah.
So I'm
I feel
curious,
like he would have
undertone.
mentioned at that point, like if they were going to already give us his insight to the painting, it would have been like, my painting or my Feyland or something.
That's true.
Maybe. I don't know. I get it
But it wasn't.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'll wait till we
But
get
I could be reading too much into anything because I don't know what anything is.
what's going on.
Yeah.
There's already a lot of theories in the beginning.
Of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you kind of figure out, because it's fun to be surprised with those kinds of things. It makes the story more interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything else for that one? Either of you guys?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So we moved to 6. I am liking this back and forth, like one person then the other person, and but it's not like all of the same things. It's there's a little overlap, but not like too much. So Envy is watching Camilla loop her arm with Vexley to walk into dinner, and he's like fantasizing about ripping his arm off. And just like how nice the blood would look on the wallpaper. So no, he's not jealous at all.
No.
He tampers his violent instinct stuff. And this is what I was talking about. He mentions that Vexley's walking Camilla around like a prize when he'd stolen, not won. And he hadn't given Envy was firmly on the thinking in the 7 circles when it came to the game of courtship each person should want to play. Vexley hasn't given Camilla a choice, and from what Envy knew of the mortal customs, if she denied it would cause a scene. So that's kind of what I was mentioning. Like that same idea isn't like for it to be not a thing in the 7 circles of hell, but mortals are up here being like, you can force somebody into courtship. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
That's why there are 7 different circles of hell.
Yeah. And he notes that it's obvious that Camilla doesn't want to draw anybody's attention. Like she's being very like quiet and like off to the side. And he is like, oh, I see you. She's wearing deep hunter green. And it matches his cravat. Is that his jacket or like his vest? What's a cravat? Cravat. Do you know, Ashley? You're supposed to know these things.
Is that the little like cake type thing? That's what I pictured. I don't know if that's what it is.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
Kind of like the overcoat type thing. That
Maybe.
isn't a coat.
I'll look it up after.
You know what? I'll look it up while you're doing this.
Thank
How about
you.
that?
And she's like, he describes her as a bold splash of darkness in this like sea of pastel. All these girls wearing their society dresses that are brightly colored and like trying to draw attention. And he notices like how beautiful she is. So he's already like mentioned all these features that are appealing to him, but he's like, now like she is beautiful. And he's going to try to seduce her is the decision he comes to. He likes how she carries herself, everything about her. Yeah, she obviously wants to be as far away from Bexley as possible. So he does think that Bexley is a player. He says, fear not, Envy still hasn't decided. Bexley was making himself a complication in more ways than one. Envy had no time to waste on fools. So he thinks also that he's a player in the game. Let's see. As he's like going through all this internally, Catherine like loops arms with him, or he loops arms with her, of all people, and walks into dinner with her. And he starts getting to know her. He gets to ask them questions about Camilla's mother. Before that, though, I mentioned earlier that he notices Camilla has a distaste, or like seems to have a distaste for the wisteria on the table. And that's why I was asking if that was wisteria. And it's interesting that I'm pretty sure her shop is called Wisteria Way. And I feel like it's probably the flower that's all over everything. So that's going to hold some significance.
BT Dubs looked that up too. That is definitely what it is.
Okay.
And the cravat is what we in the U.S. refer to as an ascot tie. So you know how they have the high collar that came up, and then they had like the little ascot tie on top? That is the cravat.
Okay, so she compliments him well. It's not too much.
Yeah.
Deep hunter
used
green or
for
whatever.
elegant, less formal occasions like weddings or dinner parties.
Okay.
She's the reincarnation of the first mortal he fell in love with.
That's just like that other book that I told you. The look.
I was just about to say, I've actually read a book like that.
Okay. I'm not going to say the book because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it, but there's a book and grandmother's.
Ma! What if I want you to tell me what the book is so I can read it?
Then don't listen.
Tell later.
Okay.
You'll forget it.
Give me a sign when you're done and I can put my headphones back in.
there's another series, and the grandmother was the object of the prince of the devils affection. They were in love, but she was immortal. She was like a witch. She wasn't immortal, and the king of the devils was pissed and murdered her, and stored her soul in a locket that he stored her soul in the locket and then took away the prince's memories. So he had to figure out that he had to meet her soul, so which got passed down from maternal person, like from mom to daughter, basically, as the generations went on. And what was the next point? It was her the whole time. It was like the same soul, so the of the person he loved, and he was just like drawn to her.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not an uncommon thing in these types of scenarios. Because I also read a book that was similar, where they like pulled her soul out. She was the same person, but she didn't remember who she was.
Was it? Okay. No, what?
You haven't read them.
Okay.
But I'll send them to you. There's 3, there's 2, and the third one's about to come out. It's really good.
Are you sure I haven't read it?
Yeah. No, because actually, I normally get all my books off of your list. So you might have. It's something stars.
Phantasma? No.
No.
Okay. No, so The Night is Defying, that one? The Stars or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't read them yet, but I have them. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, sorry,
really
I digress. I will read them. I have them. Okay. So yeah, the distaste for wisteria. So I think we need to keep that in mind, that that's significant. Aside from the fact that that's the name of her store. So I think this week about Camilla's parents mentions the kind of things that her father painted, and that like with everything that's happened, that it's like Pierre, her father had a tragic origin. Yeah. So both of his parents have been only children. Their parents had also met violent ends, and that it seems as though their family might be cursed.
Yeah.
Which curse, you know?
A lot of curses going around in this book.
Yeah. When probed about her mom, though, she doesn't want to speak about it. So I don't know if she's like trying to preserve Camilla's feelings because of all the gossip about her mother, or if she doesn't think like it's something she should talk about. It's curious. As the dinner goes on, Janelle is across the table, like trying to let her tatas hang out and flirt with Envy from across the table. Loses. She gets the attention of somebody else. And then the dinner's finally over. What does he said? Like 2 hours later, they finally wrap up the dessert. Like, oh my God. That's a long
and he's even like, this is the most boring thing I've ever been to. And it's like 10 minutes into it.
Where's the debauchery you guys said there was going to be? So yeah, that's finally over. Then Vexley announces that the men are gonna go to the drawing room to smoke cigars and gather themselves before he shows off his newest treasure, and then they're gonna play some games. Envy taps into Camilla's emotions, noticing a drastic spike in her nerves and how uncomfortable she was. And he can like feel her anxiety. And then he notices, as everybody starts breaking up, that she's definitely looking like she's up to something. And she's like, boom. As soon as he like the group breaks, she's like beelining it for the door. And he's trying to follow her without like really drawing attention. And Catherine's like, will you escort me to the drawing room, please? Camilla's already gone. I don't know, like, if they planned something or what.
I know. I'm very curious if this was a ploy,
like, it
or
felt
if
very
she's
pointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she
Like,
could
I need
also
you to
just be trying to
distract him,
set her
kinda.
up.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. He could be her, what is it?
Companion.
Loyal companion.
Yeah.
Loyal companion. So yeah. He called her a meddlesome woman.
Yeah.
And was like considering using his magic. He didn't think it would be cheating. But she's gone and doesn't know where she slipped away to. And he says, okay, lead the way. That's the end of chapter 6. The end.
I'm excited to read chapter 7.
I know, me too.
I want to know what's going on.
Some things are going to happen.
Yeah. Any big theories to discuss? I feel like it's really early.
But I feel like we have some ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely thrown in some wild ones. The imaginations are running.
For sure. I know the mom, she plays a big role in this somewhere, somehow.
Agreed. I honestly think both of her parents do. And knowing also, the perception of all of their family dying, that definitely has to be something
cursed.
Yeah.
Or maybe they come from a really powerful line that was ostracized out, and so somebody's coming out to
maybe it's
try
part
and
of
kill
this
them.
curse that he's trying to fix.
Maybe.
That's another half where it's their bloodline's the key, so they just keep killing them off.
Yeah. Somehow they were in his court and then they got out and it just cursed their whole bloodline. I don't know. I like how the author threw us into this, and we're having to learn as we go.
I enjoy the chaos
jarring.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's jarring at first, but it makes things so much more interesting than sitting and doing a ton of world building and backstory. Yeah, because I don't know, that is very boring to me. I like world building, but I like the visual of it. This is what it looks like. This is what everybody, I don't well, this is how the society works. And I want a map for that.
Yeah.
Give me a schematic.
That's actually one of the reasons why I have so many TBRs, because it's in the fantasy realm, you have to prepare yourself for the first, 6 chapters to be you learning and setting the setting. And it's
what's unique about this magical world? Yeah.
So it takes a lot of effort to get that far into it and then really get into the story. So I enjoyed that. I didn't really have to do that on this part. That was nice.
It's good.
Yeah, I definitely did struggle though understanding for a while, and
you actually helped me, Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good.
I wish
honestly,
I had
I'm
read this and done notes for the whole thing
as a period piece.
All together at once, if you had done it all together.
Yeah, in the beginning when I was doing it all, then it refresh. Then I'm oh, okay, this all starts to make more sense now that I'm a little bit into the story. So I might reread the first couple of chapters just now that I understand what the heck is happening.
I commend you. I would not.
They're longer chapters. I think I got used to in the last couple of books we've read, the chapters are so short, some of them.
All right. Well, we can wrap this episode.
Wrap it up.
Sorry. Join us next week. Next episode. Maybe not next week. It could be Saturday. It could be next Wednesday. I don't know.
You never know.
But
for you, it's going to be bi-weekly.
It's going to be soon.
No, not bi-weekly. Twice a week.
Yeah. Wednesdays and Saturdays. However, I don't know what day we're on right now. So join us for part 2, where we'll be going through chapters 7 through 13, I believe.
Sounds good to me.
And leave all your comments, comment, subscribe, give us your feedback. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying. Are you reading along with us? We're trying to start a book club. Tell your friends, tell your siblings, tell your parents. Get us out there. Let's read some books.
Type something if you watched it.
Give
us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Just give us a thumbs up. The views are great, but give me a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a comment.
Give us thumbs up.
I do too. Everyone. Anyhow,
Love
we'll
you,
catch
sisters.
you next time. Love you, sisters.
Bye.